How's it hanging, dudes and dudettes? My name is Sean, and welcome back to my channel where we love to poke some fun at the mainstream media. Oh my gosh, so go ahead, everybody knows that the algorithm loves gravy. The overlords need gravy. One gravy equals one like. One share equals one taters. Gravy and taters go together. Come on, everybody knows this. Anyways, guess who's not getting gravy? CNN. They got look at this. Tom Perez openly lies on air to Jake Tapper's face, to the American people's face about the Iowa caucus. Lies on air and got ratioed. This is great, guys. We're gonna go through this. There's a few great clips in here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jake Tapper misses a few. Everybody misses a few. But he's way too courteous to Tom Perez for everything that's been happening. So look, all the comments are just horrible. Oh my god, the comments are just horrible. Oh god, you guys can pause at any point in there. So yeah. Anyways, okay, let's go ahead and get into this.
New Hampshire Democrats are making their primary picks without knowing officially who won Iowa last week. The Iowa Democratic Party is planning to announce its review of inconsistencies in its caucus data tomorrow. The issue is raising questions about how long the Democratic primary race could go and whether the Democratic Party is up to it. Joining me now, the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez. Mr. Perez, thank you so much. So,
hold on a second. I just gotta say, look, why does he look so pleased with himself? Why does he look so pleased with himself?
Is up to it. Joining me now, the chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Look at that face. Look at that face. Why does he look so pleased with himself? It's almost as if this is all like, planned. Come in and do. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get into it.
Tom Perez. Mr. Perez, thank you so much. So Iowa was a mess. I think we can agree on that. Caucuses are run by the party and by volunteers quite often and not state election officials. The DNC, since you took over, has been trying to discourage states from having caucuses and encourage them to have primaries instead. Is it time for the DNC just to say to the state Democratic parties, no more caucuses? We can't have this being run by parties and by volunteers. It needs to be state election officials.
All right, so we gotta pause. Because all right, now this is like attempt one of like 3 or 4 of Jake Tapper trying to get him to admit that Iowa doesn't need to have a caucus, which really, in my opinion, it's not the fact that Iowa didn't have a caucus. It's the fact that Tom Perez 100% didn't, being as Iowa's coming up first, he didn't go there and make sure that everything was done right. He just handed it off to the Iowa Democratic Party when the national DNC always works with them, make sure it's done right. And there's a couple other things about the app they're going to get into, but the whole thing is just crazy. His responses are gold, guys. They are gold.
Well, I do think it needs to be state election officials running elections. And as you correctly pointed out, one of the conversations we had after the 2016 election, in addition to the superdelegate reform to return power to the people, is we incentivize states to go from caucuses to primaries. There were 14 states 4 years ago that held caucuses. 7 of them are now primary states. Iowa chose to keep their caucus status. And I think what we learned from all the mistakes that were made, and it's undeniably unacceptable.
Hey, fuckwad, answer the question. Nobody cares about if you gave them an option and pushed them and incentivized them away from caucuses and they chose that. Should they have their caucus? That's the question that Jake Tapper is trying to get to. It's attempt number 1, guys. Okay, let's get right back into it.
I'm frustrated. I'm mad as hell. Everybody is. And I think what we're going to do at the end of this cycle is have a further conversation about whether or not state parties should be running elections. We are really good.
Oh yeah, Tom. You just look so mad and so upset about what happened in Iowa, don't you? You just look so mad and so upset. So obviously what you should do is take power away from the state. That's what you should do. It should be out of their hands. That's what he's trying to say is, oh, oops, we failed to give proper leadership, so therefore the state should suffer. Come on, dude. You're killing me. This is too much. It's too much. It's too much.
Good at building parties, building organizing, building the best voter file, winning elections, and we've done that in 2017, 18, and 19. That's our sweet spot as a party.
But not running elections itself.
Right. And one of the challenges...
So, but you say it's a time for a conversation. I'm saying, isn't it time for the DNC to say, that's it? No more caucuses, no more no parties doing this, no more volunteers. We need, it is official DNC policy to have primaries and have state election officials do this.
Well, one of the...
All right, here we go, guys. Let's get ready for Dodge and attempt number 2 at trying to get him to answer this question. This dude is, I have to give him credit, he is a politician through and through. He just needs to resign.
One of the challenges, and the reason we didn't do that in our most recent conversation about this, is that you need to pass a state law to have a state-run primary. And there are some states that still have caucuses where I'm not sure the Republican governor would sign the law to have the election. So that's a challenge. If a state won't pass the law, and in those 7 states that I mentioned that moved from caucus to primary, they had a bill that was passed in their legislature and they moved forward. But I think it's abundantly clear, Jake, and this is one of the lessons of last week, is that we should do as a Democratic Party the things we do well, and that is building organizing, building coalitions, winning elections. That's what we've been doing, and I look forward to the conversation, not only about whether we should get out of the business of running elections, but also we're going to have a conversation about order as well.
Well, that's the thing.
Coalitions, winning elections, that's what we've been doing. It's abundantly clear, Jake, and this is one of the lessons of last week, is that we should do as a Democratic Party the things we do well. And that is not only about whether we should get out of the business of running elections, but also we're going to have a conversation about order as well.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, sorry, I had to replay that twice for you guys. You see, yeah, the only thing we learned is that you don't need to be head of the DNC. That's what we learned. You allowed for this to happen. Not only did you change the rules for Bloomberg, and there's Bloomberg advisors on the DNC board, there's also major contributions from Bloomberg. You bend the rules to allow him on the next debate stage while simultaneously not allowing Cory Booker when he called for more diversity on the stage, which the party is supposed to run for, while not allowing Tulsi Gabbard for lowering qualifications just to have more voices heard on the stage. And then Andrew Yang just asked for the right amount of polls historically available that you guys decided to not release so he couldn't be on a debate stage. Yeah, so there's if you can look past Iowa caucus and realize, dude, the lesson learned is that you need to get out of here, and we could win a lot more if you wasn't ahead of the DNC. And yes, the DNC does not need to be running elections. They're a for-profit company, and that's enough said.
Is Iowa about to lose their first in the nation caucus status? Are they about? I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say. Attempt number 3. Here we go.
Not difficult to imagine South Carolina, New Hampshire, other states that are out of the process. Illinois, for example, the governor there is making a big pitch saying, Iowa, you lost your chance. You screwed up. It's time for another state to take over. Is that possibly going to happen? Well,
that's the conversation that will absolutely happen after this election cycle. And after the last election cycle, we had a conversation about 2 really important things. Superdelegate reform and the primary caucus.
Don't change the subject, and nobody cares about after the election. Answer the question now. Is that something that you're going to be pushing for as the chairman of the DNC? Like, come on, dude. Now, after he fumbles this next, question, I think for another 4th time, we get into which Jake Tapper should have led with is, will you resign as a DNC? And he obviously says no, so let's go ahead and get into that.
Issue that we're discussing now, and that's going to happen again. I have no doubt about it, because it's very necessary. And
how much responsibility do you take for what happened? I understand the Iowa Democratic Party did what they did, but the DNC plays a role. Do you take any responsibility?
Sure. Yeah, the Iowa Democratic Party runs the actual election. Our partnership with our state parties, anytime something goes wrong, whether it's something that's run by the state party or not, we're all in this together. So that's why we had a team of people. I'm really proud of our team.
The DNC approved the plan.
Well, the DNC did a number of things in connection with the plan. They wanted to do a virtual caucus, Jake, where people could actually vote. It's going to be over the telephone. And we said no because we had cybersecurity concerns. The
DNC, as in you, the chairman, approved the plan. You keep saying the DNC as if you're not a part of it. Yeah, the DNC did this. The DNC did multiple things. Cyber concerns? Cyber concerns, is it because Anonymous backed Yang? Is that the reason why you did that? Huh? No, it's not that hard to just pick a third party, outside, independent developer. There's hundreds out there, hundreds of good, noteworthy developers out there who know how to use blockchain and who can actually give real cybersecurity. And you got what, $400,000-$600,000 from Bloomberg? You could have used that money for them. You allowed Shadow, who had Clintonites and Buttigieg people on their board, develop this app, which was rigged to fail, so that you guys can come in and do a DNC recount and allow certain votes out at a certain time with no transparency, no reason why you pick certain precincts to allow Sanders come out on top, Buttigieg to come out on top and Sanders to come out just eking out low, with now ever saying that he won the popular vote, and allowing the media to let Buttigieg do all these victory laps, and all the numbers on the ground reporting Sanders and Yang are the only ones who had a drop. The only ones. Scott Santens is on Twitter with proof. I had a video a couple videos back about video proof, and Scott Santens showing that half of Yang's votes and a number of precincts were not even counted in the recount. So, dude, you are just 100% full of shit, and watch him dodge this as he takes no responsibility for what happened.
The now infamous app, they actually used an app in 2016 to conduct the tallies. They weren't voting with it, but they used an app in 2016. And
then why didn't you use that same app this time? Why did you allow them to go with somebody else? It's almost as if you forced that upon them. So something's definitely up with this guy.
And they did their own RFP to select a vendor. And the question we asked was, have you pressure tested it? Have you pressure tested it? And
what did they tell you?
They gave us assurances that it was going to work. It didn't work. We're going to.
But had they pressure tested it?
Well, with hindsight, not nearly enough.
So you knew.
So the onus is on you then. If it wasn't pressure tested, why didn't you not make sure it was? Why didn't you ensure it was? Why did you just ask? Why did you not ask for proof? Why did you not ask for documentation? Why did you not ask for something to back it? You knew that this thing was going to. This is 100. Look at this smile on this dude's face. This is corruption embodied, guys. This is literal evil incarnate. They replaced Debbie Wasserman Schultz with somebody even worse, and we have to make sure these people that if they rig our elections against the outsider candidates, the people who the candidates that the people actually back, Yang, Tulsi, Sanders, then we will 100% come for your job. I will link this video and petitions to force Tom Perez to resign. Hopefully, it sends a message, something like that. But we have to make our voices heard, because this shit is just crazy. So, now next up is where he just outright, flatly refuses to acknowledge that he needs to resign or take any fault whatsoever. It's almost sickening to watch, for real.
You know this, that some Democrats are calling for your resignation. Former Congressional Black Caucus Chair Congresswoman Marsha Fudge said, quote, "We're a party in chaos." Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said Tom Perez should be held accountable for this failure. Have you considered resigning?
Absolutely not. Jake, look at the last 3.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The stupid mole rat says. Look at this dude. Come on, man. You want to talk about putting humanity first? This guy is standing in the way of humanity. This stuff is sad, dude. This is absolutely not, he says, from the horse's mouth. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely not. So I'm going to play the rest of his response, and then we're going to end it after that, and I'll link the video so you can watch the last couple minutes or contribute to the dislikes, because this dude he's an utter disgrace, and he's the reason why the Democrats will fail again, and they're coming unhinged. The Democrats are falling into shambles, and the only person who can unite everybody together is Yang. Sanders, he's doing the best he can, but he's still polarizing, and people don't trust him because he supported Hillary. It's just the way it is, and this dude is not doing anything to help anybody.
Years. My job when I came in was to rebuild our infrastructure, to win elections, and when you do that, sometimes you got to make tough decisions. Our superdelegate reform.
Yeah, you got to break a few eggs, right? You got to break, when you're making omelets here, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what? We rigged Iowa caucus. My job is to win elections and rebuild the Democratic Party. It's not to be transparent and make sure that there's a fair and honest and open debate. No. We're breaking eggs here. We're making omelets. This dude is, I'm done with this guy. He is such a joker, man.
I have great respect for Congresswoman Fudge. She doesn't support it. I get that. And I respect that, but I categorically disagree with her on this. We have been winning. This is what it's about. I think it's really important for people to take a broader.
This dude is utterly incompetent. Winning, you call what you allowed to happen in Iowa winning? Dude, you're the laughing stock of the world right now. I can't believe you showed your face on CNN. So I guess props to you for that. But I'm done with this dude. I'm done with this clown. Links are in the description. You guys know how to support the channel. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.